question to you is, regarding the work that you do. I'm sure that you come across a multitude on many different levels of, family situations where, your services are called into play. Have you ever seen a case like this? And if so, is there anything that you found consistent in terms of a pattern of either abuse or neglect, and it's stemming more from some place than other places that you might think of?
I thank you for that question very much, John. I thank you for that question very much. That's a very great question. 22, a little over 22 years, over 4,500 cases. It's not an easy question to answer once you go so many years into a career, regardless if it's a private career or a public career to the actual public. Those cases year after year build up on, they build up, and you learn so much from each individual single case. Even the most simplest cases that are solved in just a few hours, you can learn so much information and data from those that it's undescribable. So you used the word a few times in there in your question just then, and I forgot what it was. That was the perfect wording, because it's an indescribable, I don't even really know the true definition of how to explain that category. But in my history and in
All right, guys, give me 1 second here. I'm lighting a cigarette. Listen, okay? I'm going to deal with the Ziggy shit. I don't know what the hell her problem is. I really don't care. I do. I do care. And I have some things to say, but I don't want to derail my live. So we're going to do what I needed to do here first. And then I'll address Ziggy and her sharing my Facebook post, tagging Bill Shipley and some other people in it. I made a post on my community wall the other day that explained why I did that. If Ziggy would scroll down, she can read that. I know her comprehension skills are like out of this world, But I'm going to continue this live, or this video, and then we can talk about it. I'm going to make it full screen so you guys can see it better.
My personal experience, I've only ever came across one case in Arkansas, my state, that, it kind of just gave me these weird doorbell alerts, like gut feelings, and it kind of connected me to the Summer Wells case. And not just for the fact that it's Tennessee and next to Arkansas's border, but because the case struck me as strange as compared to another case we had in Arkansas. And it was a young lady by the name of Cassie Compton. And she vanished off the face of the earth in a matter of seconds. There's so many weird things that happen behind the scenes in this young lady's case. And a lot of those things were never actually discussed in news media and stuff like that. So
trying to figure out a way to grow up in the world. Hunter drove her home that night On September 14th, 2014, Cassie Compton, a 15-year-old girl from Stuttgart, Arkansas, was hanging out at her friend Hunter's house, her home away from home. Cassie was just months away from her 16th birthday, and despite her troubles at home, which were plentiful, she was trying to figure out a way to grow up in the world. Hunter drove her home that night, dropping her off before making the 30-minute drive back to his place. Cassie's mother, Judy Compton, was sick in bed but heard Cassie come in. Her mom's fiance, Brandon Lee Rhodes, was home cooking dinner. He said she stayed for a few minutes and then left again, but he was unsure where she was going. He did remember that she had her cell phone in her hand, but was known to never have a charger with her. Cassie walked out the door that night and would never be seen or heard from again. Where is Cassie K. Compton? Hello, and welcome back to the Where Are They podcast. This story of Cassie K. Compton is extremely disturbing and covers some very sensitive topics, including sexual abuse and sexual predator behaviors by a few different people in Cassie's life. If this is a sensitive topic for you, or if you feel this may be triggering, this might not be a story that you want to hear. I'm not going to go into great detail into those areas of the story, but I do want to get her story out there in some fashion, as she was just a 15-year-old beautiful girl who had such a tough life and home situation.
Can you guys hear me? I'm so confused right now. I had my mute on. Maybe I forgot to hit mute. Okay, so this guy was on J is for Justice. At the very beginning, I believe the date of this was September 21st of 2021. That particular night, Jay had a ton of locals on. Now, these are locals I have never seen in the comment sections after this. So it's an interesting live. I have the name of it pinned at the beginning of the video if you want to watch it. But where we're at right now is this guy says that he is someone who has been searching for the missing for 22 years, okay? In Arkansas. So, I'm thinking Arkansas connection after he also says in the video that he's running into connections or something. You guys will hear it. We'll listen. But this is going to be a little bit long because we're going to watch the videos. Now, I don't know if HLN will strike me. Maybe we'll watch a little bit of that one. But let's listen about this girl because it's interesting. And this is the only channel I could find that had a whole lot of information about this girl that this guy says he's connecting to Summer's case, or there's connections. I don't know. It's just strange. I want to get your guys' opinions. So just give me a minute here. Let's listen to this, and then I'll move on to the next video. But this is an interesting case, so worth looking at.
Our goal of the Where Are They podcast is to tell the stories of the missing, unsolved missing persons cases out there. It's a very, very, very low percentage of missing persons that actually make the media and get the attention they need. If you know of a case that needs more media attention or you would like to see covered, please send me an email at canwefindthem@gmail.com. I'll also have that linked in the show notes. let's jump into the story of Cassie K. Compton. Sometimes people ask me about why I think certain cases go viral and get more attention than others. And as I've said before, I think there are many factors that go into that. But this is one of those cases that I feel should have been one of those that went viral. It's angering. It's a young teenage girl. It's suspicious. It has all the markers of a media story, but yet it received so little media coverage. In fact, it would make some headlines briefly, thanks to TikTok, earlier this year in January of 2021. So, who was Cassie K. Compton? Cassie was born December 4th, 1998, to mom Judy and dad Roy. She has at least 4 half siblings that I could verify, and her dad, Roy, and these siblings lived in Oklahoma. When Cassie was young, she and her mom moved to Stuttgart, Arkansas. Cassie was a quiet and shy kid, but not without problems. Both her mother and father were registered sex offenders, and that's where things get ugly. Cassie's father, Roy, was convicted of inappropriate sexual conduct with a minor, lewd acts with a child, and indecent proposals to a minor. That minor being Judy's older daughter from a previous marriage, but still a child. Within that same case, Judy was also charged. And her story was that she needed to take a plea deal to just get probation. So that's what she did, causing her to plead to sexual misconduct and thus having to become a registered sex offender herself, especially as a mother to one of the victims. We don't know a whole lot about Roy, so I did do a little digging on his background in Oklahoma. And he has one of the longest rap sheets I've ever seen. In multiple counties within the state of Oklahoma, as of today, he is currently incarcerated. He has charges of failure to pay taxes, driving without insurance, DUIs, and several of a sexual nature. Lewd acts with a minor, indecent exposure, sexual misconduct, etc., etc. It seems like Roy has made himself a lifelong criminal, and this was Cassie's father. Being that Cassie lived in Arkansas, however, I don't know how close she was with her dad or even how often they spoke. As Cassie grew up and became a teenager, she started to branch out a little bit. She started smoking and would dye her hair different colors, and she was just trying to express herself and become her own person. At age 13, she was diagnosed with bipolar depression, and although she was given medication to take for that, she supposedly didn't like it and would flush it down the toilet. She was struggling in many ways and would be homeschooled. However, by the time she was 15, she had decided to just pursue her GED instead of her high school diploma. We really don't know why, if school was a struggle for her or if perhaps it was just a lack of guidance and support at home. But that was Cassie's goal, to eventually get her GED. And at 15, that seems so young to just relinquish yourself to that instead of trying for your diploma. But I do know there's a lot going on here that we don't know about. Cassie's mom, Judy, on the other hand, seemed like another troubled soul in Cassie's life, or at least in the way she picked her boyfriends. In 2014, she was dating a 25-year-old man named Brandon Lee Rhodes. Brandon was 17 years younger than Judy, but their relationship seemed fine, except for the fact that Brandon and Cassie did not seem to get along. There was also the fact that Brandon himself was no stranger to the legal system and found himself on the wrong side of the law often. Judy was considered disabled, but again, we have no facts as to identify what her disability is or was. She lived in a small Section 8 house in Stuttgart, Arkansas, with Cassie and eventually Brandon, who moved in with them. During this time, Cassie spends a lot of time at her friend Hunter's house. Hunter Snyder lived 30 minutes away. But he and his mom, Tracy, welcomed Cassie over any time because they knew she had a tough home life. We can speculate on what that might mean, but we don't really know many details. But Cassie was unhappy there and was welcomed with open arms at Hunter's house, where she often would spend days and even nights there. On Friday, September 12th, 2014, Cassie had been suffering from a bad cold and supposedly went to the doctor. But by that evening, she felt well enough to go out, and Cassie wanted to do normal teenager stuff despite the fact that she was not in school. And so on that night, she went to the local high school football game with some friends. She would spend Saturday, September 13th, at her friend Hunter's house, going to the Derby in DeWitt, Arkansas, and spending the day with his family. She would then spend the night at the Snyder's house. On Sunday, September 14th, Cassie would spend the day again with the Snyder family, just hanging out and having a chill day, as they would call it later. Hunter drove Cassie home around 6 p.m. and dropped her off. Her mom was laid up in bed that night because she wasn't feeling well. She was on pain patches, which allegedly made her feel very sick. So Cassie came into the home and Brandon was cooking pancakes for him and Judy. Now, there are really two different versions of what happened next. Story number 1. Brandon asked Cassie if she had any cigarettes, and she told him she did not. He told Cassie he needed to go and get smokes then, and he was going to borrow Judy's car, even though he didn't have a license, and he'd be right back. Cassie told him she needed some too, and Brandon drove off. Cassie's mom, Judy, said she never saw Cassie that night. She heard her come in and heard her go into her bedroom, but Cassie never came into her room, and Judy was too sick to go check on her. But there was really no reason to be alarmed about anything. It was just a normal evening. When Brandon returned with the cigarettes, Cassie said that she couldn't smoke that kind and she would just go out and get her own. She said she was going to the store and walked out the door with her black LG cell phone in her hand. Cassie wouldn't be seen or heard from again, and both her mom and Hunter's mom would report Cassie missing the next day. Okay, so that's one version. Here is story number 2. Cassie came home and Brandon was cooking pancakes, which he took to her mom in bed because, again, she was too sick to get up. Cassie asked Brandon if he had any smokes, and he said he did not. He'd have to get some. She said, "Nah, I'll just go out and get myself some." She had only been home for a few minutes when she left, again taking just her cell phone with her. Cassie then sent Hunter that text saying she was going out for a smoke. A few minutes later, Brandon told Judy that he was going to go out and run to the store as he was out of cigarettes. Later, Judy said that he was gone for 1, possibly 2 hours. When he returned that evening, she said he went straight to the bathroom, telling Judy he was sick. The next day, Judy texted and called Cassie several times, but her phone was going straight to voicemail and she wasn't getting any responses. Brandon said that was probably because she didn't take her charger with her. So you can see these stories are similar but different, at least with the accounts of what Brandon does on the evening of September 14th. What we do have is Cassie coming home Sunday evening around 6:45 p.m. Sometime around 7 p.m., just minutes later, she texted her friend and said she was going out for a smoke. Now, around 9:15 that night, Brandon called the Snyders, Hunter's family, to see if Cassie was there. They told her she was not, and they didn't understand why he was calling and asking, as they had dropped her off a couple of hours earlier, and Hunter said he watched her go in the home. In fact, he said that Brandon himself was outside on the porch when Cassie walked inside. But Hunter noticed that Brandon didn't say anything to her. Brandon called the Snyders 2 more times that night, and both times Tracy told him if he was that concerned, he really needed to go to the police. The third time he called Tracy and the Snyders, he told her that he did go to the police. He rode his bike to the police station, but they sent him home, telling him he had to wait 72 hours before he could report her missing. Interesting to note, there is no confirmation that this actually happened. There's no record of his visit at all, but I guess that doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen. So now Cassie is missing, and people are acting strangely. Since Brandon had come into their lives, Cassie had run away twice before, staying gone 3 to 4 days each time. But for some reason, this time seemed to cause more worry in everyone, particularly Brandon and Judy. Perhaps it was because she never answered the phone when Judy tried to reach her, or maybe because someone knew more than they were saying. And there really was cause to worry that night and the next day, as Cassie Compton is never seen or heard from again. So, Cassie Compton is officially reported missing on Monday, September 15th, by both her mother, Judy, and by Tracy Snyder, who was now also very concerned. But because of her history of running away, that is exactly what police believe happened, at least in the beginning. No Amber Alert is issued because there is no evidence that Cassie was abducted or in any immediate danger. And police don't have much to go on, but they did have some suspicions of both Brandon and Judy, especially looking at their criminal history. As time went on and there was still no sign of Cassie, they did start watching Brandon and Judy and even pinged their cell phones. Now, they haven't named any other names specifically, but they did say there were other persons of interest they were looking at also. On October 3rd, authorities did confiscate both Brandon and Judy's cell phones. On October 4th, whether related to the phones or not, law enforcement says they received information and they were going to search an area near the Casco, Arkansas, and Elmira, Arkansas areas. It was labeled a recovery mission, but no further comments were made on that. Is it coincidence that it happened one day after the seizure of the phones? Possibly, as maybe that meant they were just turning up the investigation during that time. Maybe that's why they went to get the phones in the first place. But I can't help but think that there just might be a connection there. Casco is about 15 miles from Stuttgart, a 20-minute drive, and the area between Casco and Elmira, Arkansas, was said to be the focus. While Casco is east of Stuttgart, Elmira is south of Casco, forming a triangle if you look at the areas on the map. There is a small airport in that vicinity too, and that area was searched very well also. Some people also reported seeing law enforcement search an area known as Bayou Bridge. Nothing from any of those searches brought them any answers. A week later, Judy kicks Brandon out of their home. October 11th, Brandon allegedly leaves and begins squatting at a vacant house, an act for which he would be arrested for on October 19th. On October 12th, an organization known as Class Kids brings volunteers in to search. They specifically concentrate on areas where Brandon was known to ride his bike. This included reservoirs and local railroad tracks. They also searched 2 dump stations. Apparently, one was a rice hull dump and another was a coal ash dump station. But again, nothing. A local resident also reported seeing Brandon loitering in and around a cemetery, and that was also searched, but still no clues. Authorities would seize Judy's car, but again, no evidence. Police have stated multiple times that both Judy and Brandon are definitely considered persons of interest. Take a listen to a clip of an interview with Judy, Cassie's mom.
I don't know if she even left the driveway. We've had no luck whatsoever. And I've questioned people, friends that she hung out with, and they hadn't seen her. They said they hadn't seen her. I can't imagine. Where she went. I don't know if she even left the driveway. What do you mean by that? When she walked out the door, I don't know. You know, if she maybe was taken by somebody, you know, before she got out of the driveway.
Ever cross your mind that maybe he might have had something to do with this?
I never thought that he would have anything to do with it. He looked at her like his daughter, you know, and if he did, it would be shocking to me.
But she does remember what Brandon was doing.
He was in the house and he was cooking dinner. That's what he was getting ready to do whenever she came home, was cook supper, because I was really sick.
Brandon has been in and out of prison, but during an investigation, a private detective and a reporter teamed up to try to get some answers from him. This part is really interesting, and I believe they put out a podcast in 2019 called Timeline with some more of these details. But listen to a letter that the reporter received from Brandon while he was in jail. This is from the interview that aired with KATV.
Dear Cable Lafferty, I recently received your letter. I would deeply like to speak to you at your convenience. You would have to come to the Independence County Jail. However, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to bring closure to Judy and once and for all put this Cassie case to a close. There's only so much a man can keep bottled up inside of him. Thanks for your interest, and I hope to hear from you soon. God bless, Brandon Rhodes.
Brandon was in jail at that time, booked on a charge of conspiracy to commit murder. This is completely unrelated to Cassie's case, but rather something that happened at a local bar one night. I really hate to make unfair judgments without really knowing someone, but I think we can probably all agree that this Brandon Rhodes is a shady character and another career criminal, just like Cassie's biological father, Roy. And this is the kind of guys Judy Compton apparently chose to be fathers to her children. It's no wonder Cassie had such a rough childhood and home life. There's probably so much more that Cassie knew and saw and maybe even experienced, so much that we'll never know. The reporter that received that letter did contact Stuttgart police immediately, and the investigator had this to say about Brandon Rhodes.
I was there the morning that she was reported missing. And, you know, it's like anything else. You think, all right, she's mad, she left, we'll find her. And it just went sideways from there. Stayed the night with family, friends, and came home on Sunday. The mother and the boyfriend were there. She went in. She left a few minutes later. And that's where the mystery starts. Yeah. I can't just say, but yeah, that's a unique individual. I don't know how to put that in words. He's out there, and I think he's like I said before, I think he's definitely a prime suspect. Nobody's been ruled out.
You can tell he is choosing his words wisely, but you can definitely sense his feelings and thoughts on Brandon Rhodes. The reporter tried a few times to visit Brandon in jail, but has been unsuccessful. In 2018, Judy would marry a man by the name of Mike Kimsey and become Judy Kimsey. She still goes public occasionally with pleas for her daughter. She still does not think that Brandon Rhodes had anything to do with her disappearance. Judy does believe that Cassie was the victim of foul play, but more likely crime of opportunity, such as a passerby that saw her walking that evening. In early of 2021, the case would go on to make headlines, even more so than when it had first happened. And that was because a TikTok video that people believe Cassie was in went viral. In the video, a young girl is sitting in the back of a car with a bruised face, runny makeup, and looking disheveled. People immediately believed it was Cassie. They started calling in tips to law enforcement and even posting like crazy on Judy's personal Facebook page and the Find Cassie Facebook page. People 100% believed it was her and told Judy as much. The video was posted by a man named Miles Baker from Minnesota, and despite people's absolute certainties that this was Cassie, it was discovered that it was not, as the girl in the video would come forward shortly after and identify herself. This is the danger when the public does jump the gun. I understand saying that you think you see a resemblance to someone or sending the video to law enforcement and families so they can look into it. But the damage you can do when you repeatedly say you are certain you see a missing loved one to a family can be intense. There is one person in Cassie's family who without a doubt grieves every day, and that is her brother, Chris Newcomb. Chris has said he was fairly close to Cassie and just hopes and prays that someday they will have answers. Chris has said also that Cassie used to confide in him about her dislike for Brandon and how unhappy she was living in the home with him. So what really are the theories in this case? I think we can all agree that one theory holds a lot more merit than others. But in any case, until we have exact answers, we have to keep an open mind. So theory number one, did Cassie run away? She had a history of running away. Did she do it again? Did she need to escape the lifestyle that she was stuck in? But if that's the case, where did she go? How did she get there? How is she surviving? And it kind of seems unlikely that she wouldn't have confided to the Snyder family or even her brother, Chris. Or theory number two, was she indeed picked up by a stranger that night after she left the house? Was it a crime of opportunity? Have they abducted her and kept her? Or did they abduct her only to get rid of her? And theory number three, Brandon Rhodes. I think everybody here agrees this seems like the most likely scenario. The biggest question I have here is how is this man, who seemingly isn't that bright, how is he able to do something to Cassie and with Cassie that no one has been able to uncover? Meaning, where is she? And also, did Judy have knowledge of what was going on or what had happened? Or is she completely innocent in all of this and truly doesn't know anything? What do you think happened to 15-year-old Cassie Compton?
It's not one of those things that you're just trying to be overconfident about. But once you've gotten so many years into doing this kind of career path and trying to help families in their pain and their suffering, and you'll pretty much go through to any length to try to do what you can to help them within your ability. These cases can sometimes, whether you want them to or not, they can accidentally form connections. And based on your question you asked me, John, only one case that really kind of connected in my brain over the years, and that was the Cassie Compton case, where this young girl just vanished. And it's not even that the case details are similar. It's that there's, I guess the word could be similarities. There's, a little bit of drug speculation. You've got this, what could have possibly been like a stepfather or a father figure down the road that was, he seems pretty normal, but then again, when you actually get the behind the scenes details, weird things were going on. So your question actually kind of coincides with why I am here as a human being tonight. Once again, I truly do feel blessed that I have, in my personal opinion, of over 40, it's over 4,000 podcasters in the true crime genre. Right at this very moment, I have Jen and I have John, and I think y'all are both excellent profilers. It wouldn't even matter if you called yourself that or not. It's my personal opinion privately, and whether you want to call that in the light or the dark. Our organization is always trying to, monitor things on the internet to help families locate their loved ones. So we keep track of a lot of podcasts and a lot of true crime stuff, because there's been times over the years that these podcasts will actually, it's not intentional. There's many times it's not intentional, but they will actually roll into the case and become part of the case. And in some case, not just like in a online whimsical sense, like they will actually become embedded into the actual forensics of the case. And based on this exact case, that's exactly where I feel what's going on with this case is that the details are being released online, but not by law enforcement as they should be, which in my personal opinion, this is not a bad thing. Because no one is talking in the community in that state. These kind of things need to happen to bring light to things that might not have been talked about or shown to the public. And
All right. So here's where I'm going to unmute for a minute. So I find that what he just said fishy. Like, this was September, okay? Summer had only been gone, missing. Oh, June, July, August, like 3.5 months. Yeah. Her case was ramping up, but Dawn wasn't as public. I feel as though at this time he had just done, well, let's see, July he did. Yeah, I guess it was starting to get public. The marathon was ramping up. That's when all the plans were going in before the case took like whatever the hell is going on now, So I just found it funny that he was like, I already see people, they're going to become part of the evidence. And I don't know. That just struck me weird. But this was before I went back and seen the face, which we're going to go look at when we're done with this stuff here. Okay, let me go back to the video.
that is what has brought me here, is because, in my honest opinion, to summarize once again, I feel like having access to you and Jen both at the same time, there's a couple questions that are just really been pulling my soul and my conscience down. And I don't want the world's perspective or the chat's perspective. I would like y'all's perspective. And that's really why I actually wanted to join in tonight, is because I do have some things that have been weighing on my conscience and in my mind about why haven't these things been given to the public as information? Why hasn't Tennessee told Arkansas that they should be looking for this kind of truck or car, knowing that
So this is another weird thing that comes up to me. So he's like saying he got the Amber Alert on a night Summer went missing. Well, what had gone out the night Summer went missing was an endangered alert. That doesn't go across state lines, right? So he's saying that he got an Amber Alert, or the alert for Summer, maybe not Amber Alert, the night that Summer had went missing in Arkansas. But I'm going to have to look into that. If anybody knows, would have Arkansas got an endangered child alert? That's just a little confusing to me, and something else that like caught my... Yeah, Kylie. But just keep listening. And I'm going to show, he's going to talk about that girl gang, Cassie, and I'm going to show something else about her. But just keep listening a minute.
we would do exactly that. So I don't have a massive amount of questions. I just have a couple, but they're not necessarily aimed at the chat or the world. They're really aimed at two people that my organization
Uh-oh.
You
Did you
could,
lose
if
him?
it's not a problem. I would like to ask
Well,
y'all a couple questions.
yeah, go ahead.
Before you do, and I appreciate you giving us some insights as to your organization, what you've been able to cover in your experience of 22 years being in that field and addressing these issues in a general sense. I wanted to ask you something. By looking at this case the way you have, for as long as you have, and based on the information that you were able to gather from it, okay, do you feel in some way, maybe inside of your soul or inside of your mind, covering what you've been able to cover, do you feel that this has something to do with a custodial issue pertaining to the parents, or maybe something outside of it beyond the parents?
In my personal opinion, I think ultimately in the end that if both of them can pass a lie detector test multiple times, just we're getting down. You ask me a question that really takes the answer down to the nitty gritty. What do I think? So diving into that head first, I would think that if they can rule out the parents, there's thoughts in my mind that they were followed home that day and they don't know it. That's based on analyzing the case and all of the movements, driving to this swim location, going to this store, going to here, all of this traffic, and then the ending place is the house, and then she's gone. So I guess what I'm saying is if you can rule out the parents, if TBI could ever get to that point, in my personal opinion, I think since the first moment that the call was made to police, that somebody should have thought that they could have been followed home.
Right.
But don't you think
Go ahead.
Don't you think it's suspect that the parents, after over 2 months, haven't been cleared?
Okay, guys, hold on. I'm going to go to my channel. We're going to take this off a minute. I want you to hear something I posted just because I think this needs to be out there no matter what, right? Oh, shit. Hold on, I got to open another tab. I want you to hear this video. It's a short video about something Jody Sue had said that I had pointed out. Give me 1 second here. I will hit that skip button. 1 second. I'm going to mute just for a minute. The video's 3 minutes long.
I asked them, where the last place they saw Summer was. But what I was told was that the last place they seen Summer was at the swing set. 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 And I was like, and then I asked how long that had been. And I get told 5-10 minutes. I immediately know that time's a little, but like, well, they're kids, and you know how time travel is different for children, right? So, pay no mind, but I do take the location seriously. But because they seem pretty well firm on theirs, as opposed to Candace, who doesn't, and it's so vague with her that, and the one part that felt different when I was talking to her, where I just was like, whatever. She didn't have eyes on her at all or something, you know. But I keep an eye on mine even in town, because, you know, around here it was pretty mild, and now we've got like the big rings coming in and stuff this place is not used to, so it's working well here. So they're hitting smaller towns. We've had quite a few things happen in the past couple of years, including at the park that Candace happened to be at that day. Including at the park that Candace happened to be at that day. Including at the park that Candace happened to be at that day. There have been quite a few incidents there to where most of us had stopped going or taking our children to there's a playground there, that there's a playground there, that there's a playground there. There have been quite a few incidents there to where most of us had stopped going or taking our children to there's a playground there, that it's beautiful, and it's also set up for special needs children. It's one of the better ones around here, but there have been so many pervs at it and doing crazy things that a lot of us locally and in the surrounding area had stopped going. I mean, I think there were several, you know, news pieces, but I know that there was Facebook posts about it a lot, and pictures of the men they caught, you know, I mean, so.
So I'm going to share that in a future live because I'm going to cover that James Skeleton too. Maybe tonight if I feel like staying on a little longer. I've had a lot of coffee. And if you guys want to stick around, maybe I'll go a little bit into the James Skeleton, but I want to make sure I'm prepared when I bring more about that out. Okay, so we hear her talk about the playground, right? Now let's listen. Let's go back. And let's listen. I'm going to mute again.
More than just kind of. I think it's, and honestly, I think it's kind of, I don't know the word to say right now because I don't want to say the wrong word, and I don't really care who judges me at all, but I don't want to use the wrong wording and upset anyone. But what I feel is that is if this family is being honest and they really had nothing to do with it, then my honest to God gut feeling is that everyone has been focusing solely in the wrong areas. If we could pinpoint that it wasn't the family, we could focus solely on roads, highways, and things like this from the beginning. And to answer your question, Jim, yes, there's.
But doesn't LE always start on the inside? I mean, whether it's a spouse or a parent, they're going to start on the inside and work their way out. And if they haven't been able to clear the inside yet, what do they do? Do they look outside that box, or do they just zone in on the parents until they're cleared?
And I think that's kind of where we get into, I might be wrong here, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking that's kind of sort of where my questions might kind of inspire y'all. I don't know if my questions will inspire y'all, but I know I've had them since the first hour the Amber Alert went out.
Okay,
and
well, shoot. Go ahead and ask.
Okay, now I'm going to be upfront that regardless of,
You ready, John?
you know, regardless of what anybody thinks, you have to keep an open mind, period. It doesn't matter what we don't know and what we do know about the case. It just matters that you have to keep an open mind, period, in general. So if I could, I'll dive right into my first question. Not that it's the highest priority one. It's just one that's there of a few. Um, she's a, she vanishes off the face of this planet, and immediately people start trying to contact police, is what we have been told. She disappears, and immediately they call police from what we're told. And that is what the public is being told right now. And then it was not even within a 7-day time frame of her going missing. The public began seeing comments and being told that there was a yellow vehicle possibly involved, or this vehicle. Well, that's kind of sort of going into my first question is, where is all of these mental aspects about vehicles involved? Why wasn't, even if there was a 50-50 shot at this, it could 50% could be the parents, 50% could be an abduction. Why wasn't, if people reported cars being seen, even not even if they weren't burning out and squirreling away, if people, human beings, reported seeing vehicles
But that
drive
yellow
fast
car came
away from that
Don.
house, why has
yellow
that
car
not
was
been the
blonde.
entire priority, the whole entire case? And that's something that's kind of weighed on the some of the staff within my organization, is because we're like, right, okay. So basically, were any aspects, were not any.
Okay, so he's gonna end soon. And I find the way he ended funny. When we finish this, I'm gonna go to J is for Justice and find the video, and I want you to see how he showed his face. I don't know. He sounds so much like Chase. And it looks like it's him. I'm speculating, guys. Speculation channel. Okay, let me end this and go find Jay's video.
Were all aspects of any cars completely ruled out immediately with ruled out?
Well, see, that's the thing. We're not being told anything as far as the investigation.
Is my connection cutting out?
It did. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I think he's got some kind of.
Yes, I can hear everyone fine.
Okay. The yellow car, what I was going to say is the yellow car. Oh, he got kicked.
Oh, wow.
I think his connection was getting funky.
There's another man and a woman involved in this. The man is the getaway driver, okay? The man is the one that was driving the truck sitting at the bottom of the hill. There was a woman came up that hill on the back side and lured Summer out of there. Went in the house. Grandma distracted Candace long enough for this to happen. If you don't believe me, you wait another 2-3 weeks. Wait another 2-3 weeks. Tell me if what I'm telling you ain't true.
No, they're not. They're not. And we know that there was a police report filed on Don in Utah yesterday.
There was.
And
Yes, there was.
yeah. So that I don't really want to talk a whole lot about that, but I just think I think that it adds some pressure.
And rightfully so.
Yeah. I want to just I just want to pause for a second because Arkansas missing persons joined. If you want to show me your face real quick before I connect you. Oh, hey, okay. All right.
Okay, so he shows his face But there's like a little delay between him showing his face and him coming back on and talking. Now it's a quick delay, but he puts his thumb up, but it seems as though he's messing with his mic. Wouldn't he have already had his mic? I don't know. I just feel like his voice sounds like Chase. I'm probably 100% wrong. I honestly would like to talk to this guy about the other missing kid, but we are speculating here. So, okay, let's finish watching this guy just for a second.
All right, thumbs up. All right. So Arkansas, what's up? What's on your mind?
All right.
So he gets back on and he's like, all right, like he just came back from somewhere. Like as if he could have got out of the seat and somebody else could have sat down. I'm just saying, does anyone else see it or is it just me? The guy to me sounds like Chase. I don't think it is. His involvement, the fact that the channel disappeared after that. Like, I can't find the channel. If anybody else can find that channel, please let me know. I'd appreciate it. Send me a link. I'd like to talk to that guy. I just, like he mentioned in there, like I see connections and this is how they connect and you guys are getting involved in the federal. I'm just going back and listening to some old stuff and, the shit gets confusing. Okay, so that only took up an hour of time. I thought that was going to be much longer. I have some other things I'd like to talk about. So let's go now. Hold on, let me go to my channel. Oh no, there was more. I'll share that. I don't want to get struck, so. I got too many tabs open. What the hell is going on here? Okay, hold on. Let me scroll down a little bit. Am I sharing yet? Yeah, I am. Oh, look. Perfect spot. Okay, so. As you guys know, I covered this a while back, and I was attacked for covering this. Okay? This is a man, and I'm only going to go over what I posted on my community posts. I'm not going to go over the rest of it yet. I'll tell yins a little bit about what I've seen and what I know, but I told you guys this a million times. I've deleted a lot of shit, and I deleted my whole damn Dropbox, and that had a folder in it that had all of my information about him. So I've been gathering again over the last few days, 2 days. So when I have it all together, we'll come out. I would rather talk about this one and have all my ducks in a row, if you catch what I'm saying. I mean, a deep conversation about this, but we could talk a little bit about it. I still think the guy needs to be looked into. His crimes are pretty bad. To me, I'm a little confused looking at his criminal record. It seems to me like he has crimes in both Texas and Tennessee. That may not be the case. I had messages with a family member of his. I think it was his sister. I think I posted on here it was a phone call, but I don't think it was. It was a messenger conversation, and this lady got a little bit snippy with me and didn't want to talk about her brother and said, why does it matter? He has nothing to do with Summer. But I have no proof of that. So you can either believe me or not. That folder has been deleted. My whole Dropbox was deleted. The only thing I have left is what I have left in Canva. So that's what we're working with here till I can get it all together. That's why I don't want to cover it yet. But anyways, one of these addresses he has, I believe it's his mother's. There's 2 addresses that are points of interest to me. So, I like you, but don't feel like Send on this. What's that about, Hattie? You don't have to focus on it. Okay. Anyways, so where was I? What was I saying? Okay, so one of the addresses that connect to him is pretty much around the corner from the horse pond. It's very close. And we hear Jody Sue say something about a playground, okay? And then the other address that connects to him connects on Moreland Drive. Now, Moreland Drive is the path that Candace took to get the price list that day. So, price list is pretty much on top of Moreland Drive. Could it be that this man was following Candace in summer that day? His criminal record is really awful, and that's the stuff I'm going to bring up again and dig, and I think that we should look at it. Now, moving on to my next post, I ran a side-by-side pic of James Skelton with his twin, with his twin from here on the tube in Chat GPT through DALL-E. Now DALL-E is a AI tool. I don't know if any of you guys know about it, but DALL-E compiled with Chat GPT version 4, which is the one you pay for, they're able to search the internet today and give information and things of that nature, so they're really good, like they're supposed to be on top of it. Now, is Chat GPT wrong sometimes? Yes, they say that it is. Okay, but I ran the picture side by side for a comparison, and what it said to me was, damn it, now I'm gonna have to scroll all over again. Yes, so I asked it, does this appear to be the same person if they had different glasses? DALL-E comes back and tells me, yes, the two individuals in the photos do appear to be the same person at different times or with different grooming and glasses. The facial features, such as the shape of the face, the nose, and beard, are quite similar, suggesting that the photos are of the same person with changes in appearance. Okay? So after that, let me go back. Like, I'm thinking about this. I haven't been able to talk about this because people don't like when you talk about Scott, right? Like, so I'm sorry, but I can't get past this. I can't get past the way these two look, how they compare together. Are they the same person? No, I don't know that. I'm just speculating. I think that it could be, but do we know that for fact? No. So I get on here and I put, I truly think it's him. I'm not afraid of a lawsuit. He won't sue. He is in trouble eventually. And that is if he is in, and I'm not saying for Summer, so don't let me say that. I'm not saying Scott is in trouble for Summer. What I'm saying is if Scott is this man, Scott is in trouble for being on social media, right? Like, I'm just saying he ain't supposed to be on social media, especially covering a missing child's case in his area. This ring is huge. I truly believe that there's something going on. There's something, I speculating. But anyway, so Scott got on someone's channel. I can't remember where. I'll clip it and make sure when I talk more about this. He had got on someone's channel. And again, this man's story about how well he knows the lights changes, right? So now he's on this channel and he's stating, hey, AC, do you remember when my dad used to buy Tennessee liquor or something? He said something of that nature off of your dad. I'm sorry, AC. I'm starting to wonder why you follow Scott H into every chat that he goes to and why you agree with his stories. I'm going to be going over some of the times that you've been on here. I don't understand y'all's two's relationship and the whole Frank Light situation. Squall, I don't like you. I don't like you one fucking bit. Okay? But I would like to know about your relationship with AC and your relationship with Scott because it's so funny to me that you don't put them down ever. Like there's just something strange with that with you three. So I'm coming out here to say it. And yes, I am speculating that I believe that Scott H is James Skelton. Okay? So, anyways, back to what I was saying before. That's all I said about that. And until I can compel all my stuff back together, I'm coming back to chat. Give me 1 minute. But until I can compel all my stuff together again, I'm not going to talk much about this, guys. Give me like a month. Okay? Because I had a lot, and I'm going to go find almost as much as I did before. I wish I had that conversation that I had with his sister or a family member. I can't even remember exactly. He has a sister, but I think it was a different profile. So I have to go through my messenger. Just give me a little bit of time here. We are going to be covering this because I'm done. Now, that leads me to Ziggy. Ziggy, I don't know if she's still alive, but she had a live today where she was going over a post that I had made on my Facebook page, and I had tagged Bill Shipley. Yes, I did friend request Bill Shipley. He didn't friend request me. I never spoke to him. Okay? I don't know much about the man. I didn't follow the man. I didn't want to follow the man because I was being pushed to him through that Gary. Okay? She, because you know Gary's a she. We're not going to give real names, but the TBI has it. She was damn determined to get me to put him on my page and attack him. And at the time, I didn't know much about him. And it was a Karen Renfro situation where she wanted me to put Karen's stuff out. And I did. I have my own mind. But at the time, I was thinking what she was thinking. Okay? So she was pushing me to put this guy and his information and go after him. And I wouldn't do it. And that's because I heard, and I have a video. I'll play it again for you guys in a minute here. Don himself confirmed, I believe it was on Benny or Cher. I'll find the clip. He confirmed himself who Billy was. Okay. Fred confirmed who Billy was. I'm not even going to play the video because I'm done with this fucking Billy shit. Like, everybody knows it wasn't Bill Shipley. Now, does that mean Bill Shipley's not a bad guy? No, I don't know Bill Shipley. However, I also don't know that Bill Shipley would be involved in Summer's disappearance. Why? He did not live in Beach Creek at the time of Summer's disappearance. Okay? I have more suspicion in Fred and David Bays than I do Billy. Does that mean Billy isn't an asshole and a danger to society? Absolutely not. Does that mean that Ziggy is bringing these people's personal problems out and she's bringing women into this and possibly putting these women into danger? Is she paying these people to come out here and do this? I'm not a Jody Sue lover. However, I don't think Jody Sue is guilty, and I'm not going to go over this in every live. Okay? I am allowed to speculate. I have theories. I am not crazy. I don't go chasing after these people. Do I talk to people in Beach Creek? Yes. I have made a few friends that live in that area. Okay? And I don't think that it is fair that you continue to bring this bullshit to their area and make it as if every person in the Beach Creek community is bad. Now, do I think that community is bad? I think there's bad people in it. And I think just like anywhere you live, there's bad people. And I think people probably do bad things and have crimes that can or cannot connect the summer. However, I feel that is for LE to figure out and the TBI. I don't feel if you go that deep into these crazy ass fucking people that possibly beat their wife, killed a dog, and you bring their exes to YouTube, that it's a good idea. I mean, that's just me, and that's just, common sense. I think what you're doing is ignorant to the community that Summer Wells lives in. And I think you give no fucks. Okay? So that's why I'm on here. Now, I didn't watch your whole live, Ziggy. Okay? But I seen enough. Okay? Like, this is just crazy with you. You're bringing these people in that stalk people. Like, it's all about something other than Summer for you. This is not about Summer because you don't care. Even if, like, let's say Bill Shipley is involved in Summer's case. You're bringing all these people out to contaminate somebody who could possibly be a suspect. Okay? How's that going to go in trial if they ever try to charge that man? If he's doing what you think he did, I think you have some real issues and you need to get the fuck off of the YouTube. Go over to your fake tarot reading over there. Maybe pull the fucking dowel rods out again. Like, damn, dude. Okay. What's Skeleton's name? James D. Skeleton. I don't know what that's about. If you're saying Scott Hunt, nah, no. There's no way possible, dude. That guy was married. I seen pictures of her. Like, that's not him. Okay, that's not Scott H. That's what I'm gonna say to you. He's not the Hunt guy that everybody said he was. I don't know Scott's last name. I don't know who he is. He's never gave his name. Now, what he's done is hid his face for a very long time. And in that Google Meet that I had with Gavel, Benny, a sleeping Penny, Jenny, and Adrian, he showed Benny acted like it was the first time. The other ones acted like they had seen him. Penny was sleeping. So I'm going to assume he showed Benny and I his self for the first time. I believe that was the first time Scott was ever seen. There may have been a live that he did that he flashed his face one time. And there was a live he did of a picture of himself holding a child that he showed. And I've posted that picture. Whatever. Dude sus as fuck to me and he looks like this dude. I don't understand his involvement. I don't understand his connection with Penny. I don't understand his connection with CM. I don't understand his connection with AB. I don't understand why CM has hidden discords. I don't understand why AB has hidden discords. And that's all I've been trying to figure out, but I get sued every time I look into it. You know why? Because nobody else is looking into that shit now, are they? So that's about all I have to say for that. If y'all think I'm crazy, you think I'm crazy, but there's a lot of weird shit going on in this case. I just don't understand it. I can't piece that together. That's for the police to do, right? Like, I'm just a speculator. I'm on my channel speculating and researching because I like researching. So when I find something that's right, Hattie, brutally honest. But I don't think, no, I don't think that neither. I don't think that Wild Bill, Scott Shipley, is connected to this at all. Do I think the dude has his own crimes? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think, we don't hear his side of the story. He's in jail, right? We've seen the Facebook posts. I don't want to involve myself in that because that's not my business, and I don't believe that man has anything to do with this. So, yeah. And wasn't there like a long time period, Hattie, that he didn't report? He was supposed to be reporting and he didn't. And he also has connections to some other states. Like, I really do want to dig into him, and I'm going to need help with that. So for those of you that want to research and want to jump on this, regardless of whether this is Scott or not, I think the man needs to be looked into. We hear about the playgrounds. We see how close the playgrounds are. Priceless is at the top of Moreland Drive, which is where he is located. And I was sent some screenshots today that I had seen in the past but had lost. And it reminded me of a lot of stuff. But before I bring those out, I want to make sure that I'm looking at the same thing that this person posted in a group. And Lady R, I think that's what Hattie was talking about earlier when she said, look at that date. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think he looks like the same guy? Do you think he looks like the same guy? I'm curious. Oh, and I wanted to say something else about Ziggy, too. Ziggy was saying I'm mad at her for something, and somebody was in her chat saying I'm jealous. No, you want to know why I'm mad? And if you give me a minute, maybe I will, because I still got time. I'm only an hour and 20, and I try to go 2 hours. But why I'm mad is because after they all started attacking me about the squall shit, Ziggy allowed, and Ziggy, I hope you hear this loud and clear. Somebody make sure she hears this loud and clear, okay? She hosted Scott on her channel, and he sat there for hours and trashed me in the most disgusting, despicable sexual ways, okay? Any woman that would host something like that on their channel and then agree with it has issues. Ziggy, you have issues. So I am mad at you for no other reason than that. Okay? I think some of the things that you show on your channel are just ridiculous. That's what it is. It's ridiculous. Here's another thing too, Fred. Fred being in jail, right? Is anybody else involved in the Summers case? Have they sat in jail this long? Has anybody else in Summers' case came out and said, I'm being suspected for 2 murders? We've heard this guy was supposed to be moved to Sullivan County. Has he been moved? No. If I'm correct, now I haven't looked in a while, but his case remains at a standstill, right? And yet he's still sitting there in Hawkins County Jail. So nobody else in this case is sitting in jail right now except for him. No bail. There's a reason for that. Okay? He is going to have a detainer when he gets out because he will be moved to Sullivan. What's the reason they haven't moved him yet, Ziggy? I think you need to do some research on law before you come on here and spew your bullshit. Okay? Fred's very much so a suspect in Summer's case. So, I'm stalking Ziggy's channel. Okay. Ain't you, Gary? Ain't that what I said? I have to go back and look. I'm stalking Ziggy's channel. No. I watch for information. I don't chat. I don't try to chat. However, I think what she's doing to Summer's case is dangerous. And I think it's dangerous for the community that Summer lived in and loved. Right? I don't think it's very smart and wise. We're just YouTube creators. We are not the damn police. Gary. So, Kylie, you think he looks like the same guy? I mean, I'm just saying. I've just about had it. You know? Like, this is enough. What they're doing to these people that live in that community. When I tagged Bill Shipley in that the other day, it was because I want to give people in Beach Creek a chance to get up and tell people what this has done to their lives and how they feel about a little girl being missing in their area and all kinds of strangers coming in and trampling all over things. And let's say any of this crazy shit is true, right? In my last live, I pinpointed, I had said how much evidence could have been destroyed. What if that campsite, wait 1 second, guys. Catherine, what do you mean it was closed? So that's no longer open. He's not going to be held. I haven't looked into it. Do you know where I would see that at? Thank you for letting me know. Wasn't Scott H. some sort of counselor to the troubled? Yeah, he said that he was a van driver. I don't know. His jobs have changed. He said he was a van driver for some rehab center or mental illness or something, and he drove around women that were abused or addicts. I don't quite understand. His story about his jobs have changed so many times, and he the things I looked into, I have to go back. Like, my head's been in a scramble. I've been through a lot here on this YouTube. It's just too much information. I don't want to put out misinformation, even though I'm a speculation channel. So just know, if I do put out misinformation or if I'm giving you a theory, it's because I'm speculating about true crime, right? Like, that's what all of us should be here for. We shouldn't be involving ourselves. It's too late for me. I involved myself so much so that I wish I hadn't, honestly. Not that I would never not want to get Summer's name and face out there. I want to do that. But if I follow another case, it's going to be much different than this one. I actually want to go back and do that cold case. What was her name I shared today? Hold on. This one. Let me read this to you guys. Case Spotlight, Sabrina Eisenberg. Hey, amazing subscribers. I've got an intriguing true crime case on my radar that I'd love to delve into on our channel, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. The Sabrina Eisenberg case. In 1997, Sabrina Eisenberg, a 5-month-old baby girl, vanished from her crib in her family's Florida home, leaving behind a mystery that has puzzled investigators for decades. The circumstances surrounding her disappearance are haunting and filled with unanswered questions. Sabrina's parents, Marlene and Steve Eisenberg, maintained their innocence but faced intense scrutiny and suspicion throughout the investigation. What makes this case even more fascinating is the failed wiretap that was intended to gather evidence against the Eisenbergs. The wiretap, which was supposed to capture conversations in their home, ultimately yielded nothing substantial. Now I can come back and tell yins this. If yins would be interested in hearing that, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, only because the case is wild. Like, it's another case I feel has subtle similarities to Summer's case, but differently. It's interesting. These parents were really scrutinized, and there was a wiretap that was worn, or that was in the house. It was placed in 2 different rooms. And they had like rookies on the case putting the wiretaps in, and you can't understand the wiretaps. So the parents ended up walking from these charges that they were getting ready to, the grand jury, the indictment was thrown out or something. And because you couldn't understand it, but what they said was pretty damning. Like, it's a really interesting case, and I'd like to dive deep in on that. So, yeah, so many missing. It is heartbreaking. Hattie, let me quit sharing this. Hold on. I'm getting better at this, sharing screen and stuff, though. Yes, speculation only, Hattie. Thank you. But was he sent to Sullivan and back to Hawkins? Good question. Like, did he go to court in Sullivan? Catherine, if you know. Possibly. I don't know, but if you guys want to cover that case, just let me know in the comments of that community post. I'm just saying, guys, don't you think that we should be looking like in other directions and at all of the possibilities here? What if it is somebody followed Summer back from the horse pond or from Priceless? They were in a lot of areas that day. There's a lot of other like registered offenders in the areas that haven't been searched. And this one, in my opinion, just so close, like so close to the horse pond. And on the path that Candace went that day. Regardless of whether this is Scott or not, I think it's worth looking into. Yeah, Addie Kane. Yay. Somebody wants to hear more. Yeah, I'm going to do some deep diving into it. I started taking apart a few videos, but you got to be careful with copyright and stuff, how you do it. Takes me a little bit. I like to actually work and research and dive into whatever I'm looking into, so And right now, I got so much going on and so many ideas in my head and so many things I could cover, but I really do want to get to this James Skelton, and I'm going to have to do a lot more research on it, only because I lost so much. It sucks. Really bad. So, Addie Kane, you want me to talk about Addie Kane, Hattie? Is that what you're saying? Because I could look that up. I don't think I ever really followed that case. Yeah, I'm really curious if Fred's charges were dropped. I'd like to see proof or why or how, because how could they just be dropped? He didn't go to court, right? Oh, he was transferred? Okay. But was he transferred back to Hawkins? Like, where's he calling Ziggy from? Howdy. He pled guilty? Thank you. Okay. But did they, Catherine, he's in Hawkins, so they transferred him back to Hawkins. See, that's what I'm saying. He's just been in there for so long. And all the strange things he says, is he making it up? And then you got Jody Sue talking about David Bays was running from the thing, and you got this whole they were fighting over the dog, and then you got missing drugs. Like, these people don't understand that a lot of them has caused a lot of confusion in this case. And when the creators go with it and run with it, and you don't know, like, you could speculate about it, you could talk about it, but you have to do it in a way that you're not attacking. Like, I would never call a victim of Bill Shipley if he's done what they say he's done, right? Like, what are his charges? I don't even know why dude's in jail. Angel, we don't even know if Scott is his first name. He's shown his face, but he's never told anybody a name. I bet you I know who knows, though. I'm betting Adrian and Jenny know. All them private conversations they had. I'm betting Penny knows how these two just come on the scene after being in CM's discords and ABs, and now all these discords have disappeared. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, why is YouTube so involved in this case, so much so that there's marathons, money stolen from fake FBI agents? Does that come from YouTube? Does that come from that area? Personally, you see the Moselle handwritings. We've gone over that. It's just all so weird. Like, and I'm not crazy. I just think it's all strange. I might be a little touched, but I'm just saying. You guys can't sit here and think like you guys haven't had all these thoughts. And why is it, like, if there's a group of creators and they all want everybody to go after one person, what are we accomplishing doing that? All of them people for 2 years went after Jody Sue, and they're still doing it. But there's other avenues that need to be dug through and looked at, and you're just wasting time. You're wasting energy, in my opinion. So, does anybody want to come up and talk? I always ask if people want to come up, and nobody ever does. It's fine. But if somebody wants to come up, And Ziggy, you're welcome to come over here and counter me anytime you want. Seriously. I'll throw a link for her here. I've just had enough of this people pushing the Shipley, pushing the Shipley, pushing the Shipley. And I know who it is behind the scenes doing it. You know? And I don't think it should have came out like the way it did. I think that it's irresponsible. And it's a danger because now on top of Shipley, if these things that they're saying this man does is true, and the people around him, if they're saying that the people around him do the things that they do is true, well, then that means you're putting these people's lives at danger either way, and you don't give a shit. It's just for content. Yeah, send it on Facebook, Hattie. I'm going to end here soon. I think I've gone over enough tonight. I've addressed a lot of what I need to address. I need to research the skeleton guy again, just so you guys know it ain't going to be like a quick thing. Give me a little bit of time to gather everything together and piece it all together so I could bring it to you the best I can. Yeah, Hattie. If Fred is innocent and he does have information, that's a really good point. He could definitely be in danger. They could have put him in danger. Ziggy doesn't give a shit. You know, she don't. She really just doesn't. All she cares about is her. I'm saying, look, I think Ziggy's entertaining at times, okay, when she's not talking about this shit. I think her tarot card, do I believe in the psychic shit all the time? No, I don't believe in the psychic shit on YouTube. However, I think her channel's entertaining over there on the tarot card thing. I do think she needs to quit trying to read people in Summer's case. I think it's weird, you know? However, she could make money, and she is making money on that other channel. So she could go over there. I think she needs to get the fuck out of the true crime because it's not where it's at. She's putting people in danger and she's being irresponsible. And I think it's more worth looking into the people that are on the offenders registry and other possibilities that could have happened. I'll look at it, Hattie. I'll look at it when I get off of here. All right, but I am going to go, guys. I don't know. I might come live tomorrow. I don't know what we'll talk about. Maybe we'll see. I honestly, like I've always said, I'd like to search with you guys, do my research with you. So if that's something, like, because what I'm trying to do here is figure something out I could do every day of the week that's different. Of course, I want to always cover summer, always. But I think it's time that me personally, I cover some other things too, things I'm interested in. It doesn't always have to be every video and every piece of information about Summer, but does her name need to be out there every single day? Absolutely. And I'll make sure I continue that, but I'm going to start adding some content soon. As soon as I find the time. All right. So I'm going to go. Much love to you guys. Peace. I'll see you soon when I figure out what I could talk about. Bye.